Hello there, and welcome back to the Zero Credentials F1 podcast. We're here to talk about the Spain Grand Prix that's just finished, and what started out as a pretty boring race, I think, was rescued towards the end with a safety car, which turned into just a wild last few laps. I've got Nelly here with me. How are things?
Controversy, mate. Controversy. We have things to chat about.
We do. Let's roll the intro and then we can discuss what went on. Yeah, so I think just as we logged on together there, we were kind of saying that it was potentially a little bit of a dull race to start with. I actually thought the first lap was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
The start was good. I thought this is going to be a great race, but then it kind of turned into 5-second gaps between the leaders.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't understand as well. I mean, I thought the story of the race was going to be how on earth, with an extra pit stop, did Max keep up with the McLarens?
Yeah,
and was maintaining that sort of gap and arguably hunting them down. And then I think the McLarens, I don't want them to get to this stage too early, but I think they're becoming a little bit complacent and thinking more about management in the race rather than going off and getting a 30-second lead and then worrying about that type of stuff.
Yeah, I think they had the pace really to just fly off into the distance. But to be fair, what made me chuckle is that it was the McLaren show, but overall it turned into the Max Verstappen show, didn't it? We saw, I think today, the very best of Max Verstappen,
Max did a Max,
and the very worst of Max Verstappen, all in one race, and all pretty much in the last, within about 30 seconds down the straight. Should we just talk? Let's just talk about what happened after the safety car came out, because unfortunately Kimi Antonelli went into the gravel because his car broke again. The Mercedes reliability is weird, isn't it?
Questionable at the moment.
I don't know what is going on there. And I think Nico Rosberg was saying on commentary that they had the big boss there from Mercedes today. So that is...
Yeah, he'll be pleased. He'll have had a nice afternoon. Well, he will be now, but... Yeah. It took a couple of things to turn their way. Yeah, but very, very surprising. A couple of really odd things happening. We got the safety car. Everyone boxed, and astonishingly, Red Bull put hards on Max, which put him on the immediate back step. Which got him up a height before he even started.
I think that was just unfortunate, wasn't it? That he did, because he was on that 3-stopper. He didn't have any tyres left, so I don't think they had a choice, did they?
But I mean, in all seriousness, though, I suppose you'd take new ones over everything. But is track position plus old soft, which is what he had. He would have had track position. He'd have been up front.
Can they put old softs on though? Do they not have?
No. It's not. I mean, he just didn't. If he not gone in, or was he on mediums at that stage?
No, he was still on softs. Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean. So he could have stayed out.
Stay out, get track position,
be first in the lead. That's a much better idea, isn't it?
Is that not better than hards, albeit fresh hards? I honestly don't know. I
mean, in hindsight, anything is better. Anything is better than what happened.
It was a great idea now.
But I mean, I think Max's problems began with those hard tyres, didn't it? Because he'd raced so well. He was by far in that first, 5/6 of the race. He was by far the most entertaining person on track.
Yeah,
he was the only one providing any kind of story or narrative or anything interesting. Was his 3-stop strategy versus the McLaren 2 stops. But it was the hard tyres going on that was the source of his problems.
Yeah,
because
he got into his head straight away. Because he was immediately like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? I mean, there was literally, is there nothing else we could have done?
And then when the safety car came in, Piastri slammed the anchors on, which Max nearly went past Lando, didn't he?
Yeah.
So the tyres, those harder tyres can't have been in the right temperature.
Well, they
window.
weren't on, and he fishtailed it massively coming out the final corner for the restart.
That when he came around that last corner and he kind of tried to put the power down and it just snapped on him. How he held that, I've just got no idea. But he held it and kept the speed going as well, because Leclerc struggled to get round him.
Yeah, well, he doesn't lift, does he? He doesn't lift. You see, I'll catch it with my hands. I'm not lifting like anyone else would immediately look to do and just go home and cry to their mum. But he did that. But on a slightly related point, and I think it sets up the post-safety car races. Safety cars take far too long. Far too long.
Lewis said that, didn't he, to his engineer? But one funny thing I thought was that they said on commentary was, were they, because it was the Spanish Grand Prix, were they giving Alonso the chance to catch up to the back of the back, so he could challenge towards the end? But
even so, when they were doing the clearance of Kimi Antonelli's motor, they're going around at safety car paces. Get them told as soon as possible. Back markers, get ahead. There's no reason to wait for everything to be fully cleared. I think
they wasted at least half a lap.
Yeah,
behind the safety car once that telehandler thing had cleared off the car before they let the cars pass, didn't they?
Yeah, but just say come past, but you got to pass on the start finish straight or whatever. You just got to get away. You can't pass at that point, but you can pass.
I think in the end, to be honest, in the end though, with the way it was, even after the safety car, it was sort of the gaps were starting to play out again, weren't they?
Yeah.
I don't really think a lap and a half extra would have made any difference, to be honest.
It made a sprint of it, which that race certainly needed. I mean, you sat on the couch, you sat there for 2 hours, and when you're starting to blink a little bit and the eyes get a little bit itchy and going, is this really all I'm getting today?
Yeah,
but it
had promised so much as well, hadn't it? That was the thing. But I think I said to you in Whites tonight, like that safety car was so needed.
Yes,
it was so needed.
It needed an injection of something in the race because it was just
coming around that last corner. Then Max has a snap. Leclerc gets alongside him as they're going down towards turn one. What do you think happened there? Because we're obviously. The race has just finished, so we haven't got the final classification because the incident where, I mean, they've been going down the straight and there's been contact, hasn't there?
Yeah.
Initially, it looked like Max had gone into Leclerc, but seeing the replay afterwards...
I've seen one replay. I think Max accepted that Leclerc had the overspeed with the slipstream and was going past him, and Max, to be brutally honest, stayed perfectly still.
I think he did.
Laterally, trying to protect whatever slipstream he did have from the cars up the road, because that's all important on there. I think Leclerc drifted slightly left into Max.
I mean, he even sort of said that in his interview, didn't he?
Yeah.
He sort of said he was trying to push Max left, but it was... I don't know, but there was still... The thing is, there was still space for Max to go left.
Yeah.
And
that's what I'll do for him. That's why he won't get any comeback on that or satisfaction.
There was plenty of space.
Because there was space for him to move to.
Max has to move. Max just didn't move, did he?
Yeah.
And he could have done. He had space to move.
Yeah.
And
it was one of them, 6 1 half dozen the other. No one was completely faultless in that.
But then George Russell came around the outside and just sort of sent one down round the outside like he did last year on the first lap.
As he was in
kind of just, it seemed like, just to be fair, because I like George Russell, just drove into the side of Max.
A little bit. I think he was too fast. I think they said on there he'd overcooked it, and he had, which means he had massive understeer, and he just, whilst it was turning, it wasn't turning as fast as he needed it to. But to be fair, Max acted within a second, took the escape route, and that's what it's for.
Do you think he should have had to give that place back then? Because the team came on pretty quickly.
Yeah, I thought
said he had to give it back.
At that point, that Leclerc was fine. It was just a racing incident at that stage.
Yeah,
and I thought George was to give the place back.
Yeah,
to Max. Well, actually, not. No, certainly not. George didn't have the place then. But I thought George was risking a penalty at that point had he tried to force the issue. It wasn't George's corner at that stage, but Max stayed ahead, and I don't know why Red Bull, his team have fucked him. There's nobody sat there thinking, right, Max was in the wrong there. Give George the place. Nobody was thinking that.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like they got confused because there'd been the contact with Leclerc and then the contact with George. George ended up behind Max, but he was already behind Max, so he never really had he was never really ahead of Max.
No, but listen, and it was slightly confusing on the program.
It was confusing. It was confusing.
I didn't know whether he was asking for Leclerc's place back or a penalty for George. It looked, well, George wasn't ahead of him at that stage, so he must have been asking for the Leclerc place back as well. Well, Max will want everything that's in his advantage anyway, so fair enough. So then, and he didn't deserve the Leclerc one.
So then he did up and up to let George go past. George started driving past him, and then Max just did a Max and let go of the brake.
And sped up and ploughed into the side of George to say, all right, if this is the rules now, if we can all do this, then this is what you're getting. And I think that boils down to Red Bull, because they shouldn't have told him to do it.
Maybe,
but you don't do that. You don't do. No, I mean, they caused the situation. Max acted extremely badly in that situation. Max did a Max.
He showered the circuit with his toys. That's what he did.
Everyone,
just like I'm going out, just when everywhere, chucking like toys everywhere.
When they were doing pickup after the race, there was the Lego bricks embedded in all of the tires. Pokemons, absolutely everything. It was that was extremely naughty. A 10-second penalty. Somebody said that. Nico Rosberg, who's a great commentator, by the way. I really enjoy it when he gets to run it. He said, it's really serious. He's going to get some heavy.
He was calling for him to be black flagged as well, wasn't he? Like, get the black flag him. That's it.
Yeah. And then they thought about it and went, well, what did Vettel get when he did Hamilton in Baku? He said, 10-second penalty. He went, all right then, fair enough. Yeah. But I think there could be some hand slapped after it, because George, isn't he the driver's representative with the FIA and like the safety rep and all that sort of stuff? So
I mean, it's not the first time in history that cars have done that. I think Vettel obviously did do it to Hamilton. Classically, Schumacher did it to Damon Hill, didn't he?
Yeah, that's it. But I mean, I think the overall.
I think even Senna was guilty of it a couple of times as well, wasn't he? So. It's not unprecedented in F1, but it's not something you want to be seeing, is it?
No. I mean, they are in a...
Actually, maybe it is.
Yeah. The general point is they're in a ticking time bomb, a vehicle that can kill them at almost any given opportunity. So you don't need an extra chance of dying by somebody just throwing 600 kilograms of motor car in your side. But yeah, not great to see. It has been done before. It will always be done again, but just reflects the petulance of Max, and it's different, no different in a way from George throwing his toys out the pram last week and saying, "Right, just give me the penalty or whatever." But
I mean, even at the start of this race, George was upset, wasn't he? And Toto came on, didn't he? What was he that he said? I made a note of it.
No, George, concentrate.
Yeah, that's it.
Get to the chopper. Give me your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
So true. I mean, that made him look like a small child.
Yeah. George, get back in your fucking box.
Yeah. I was just going to look up to see if the results had been classified, because it's important for our predictions. Shall I just?
Because we come on instantly. We should tell people we come on instantly after the race.
Yeah.
We don't take anybody else's opinion. We make our own minds up and give you an instant appraisal of what we've just seen.
An instant.
And that's what you're getting, good or bad. This is what you're getting.
I mean, yeah, I can't tell if that's classified or not. But one of the things I've sort of disappointing is that incident with Max was by some distance the highlight of the race for me.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there wasn't a great deal of racing between the sort of front 6 or 7. I was hugely disappointed with really generally the pace of Ferrari and Mercedes.
Yeah.
If any, I mean, Max's 3 stops sort of added a little bit of interest, but Mercedes were nowhere, Ferrari were nowhere. I think Leclerc, I mean, admittedly, he said it himself that he got lucky to get the podium. He obviously gave himself the opportunity with the
tyres. Tires.
Tyre offset, didn't he? But
no, well, he did well. He said, if it on my head be it, Lewis really struggled for pace and was at risk of holding up Leclerc. I'm glad they made it. Felt a little bit too long for them to make their mind up, but they did eventually, maybe 2 or 3 laps after he was up Hamilton's rear wing, and they let him skip off, and he certainly did skip off into the distance, and that he got the best out of that car given the tyres that he had. He took a risk yesterday, and to carry on from, where did he qualify? Was it 7th or 8th? And he
something like that.
He podiumed it. So
I mean,
he's had a good weekend.
He had an amazing getaway. To be fair, didn't he? At the start, he made up 2 places really quickly, and that got him right behind Lewis, which I think was probably why Lewis had to end up giving him that position at the start. But just a night Lewis had an absolute mare, didn't he? I don't know. He
was just drifting backwards, and
where his pace was, I've got no idea. He's obviously not happy with that car.
No, I mean, he keeps saying, the race pace is better, and it is better than qualifying, but that's not a major bar. That's a fairly low assessment of where they are. They're qualifying's consistently 5 or 6 tenths down.
I think the pace of Lewis particularly is, I don't think that's Lewis Hamilton, because he's generally just fast. And some races he's been absolutely storming forward, like at Imola. And then today he's gone backwards. He won the sprint race in China, and then the race the next day, he was nowhere. So God knows what's. I mean, I want to see Ferrari and Mercedes right back up there.
But I mean, we're getting to the point now where, God, I hate saying this, but in the past few races, I mean, you can take Monaco out because it's an outlier, but Lewis starts with some hope of creeping forward. Might nick a couple of spots. He has nicked a couple of spots in a few races, but will still find himself 30, 40, 50, 60 seconds behind the leaders. And it's just slowly chipping away. Is he just not fast enough in that car? Has he still got to, has he lost pace? I don't want it to be yes, but he might.
I mean, it's definitely, I'm sure it's something he's thinking of. I personally don't think he has. I still think he's got that 8th championship in him.
Yeah.
Because I'd definitely be having my doubts if it wasn't for that sprint race in China.
Yeah.
Because he had a car that suited him. He popped it on pole, and he was like the old Lewis Hamilton.
He's used to commanding from the front. Yeah,
exactly. And it looked like the days of old. So I still think he's got that in him if they get the car right. I mean, it's hard to know what internal stuff's happening.
Did you see a few of the press pieces? Because there was things that I'd never really heard before from Lewis. Like, I can't remember what it's like to have a podium, and
did it?
And to be fighting up at the top. It's like he's starting to forget.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the predictions then, because
I don't think anyone's done very well here, have they?
I mean, unfortunately, and it's a little bit embarrassing because I'm sort of running the competition here, but I've scored most highly again.
Really?
If you can't see it, can you? But we've got you. I'll just talk you through it.
If you turn everything upside down and close your eyes, and then think of the first number that you thought of and divide it by it.
You had Max Verstappen on pole,
which
obviously didn't happen, and Max Verstappen for the win, which he self-destructed.
He got the opposite of a win, an anti-win.
Yeah. And then you went for Oscar Piastri for second, which is wrong. Lando third, wrong. Lewis Hamilton fourth, wrong. Kimi Antonelli, no, he didn't.
Very
finish.
Wrong.
Yeah.
DNF. Can we get a minus point for a DNF if they're in our top 5?
I did quite enjoy when they were showing the replay of Antonelli going into the gravel. And Nico Rosberg was like, "Please let it be the car. Please let it be the car," because that would be so embarrassing.
Yeah, the car's shit, so that's good. It's not him. He's not shit.
I thought that was quite sweet of him, actually, that he's just really supporting Antonelli. And then Whites went for Lando Norris on pole, which Lando Norris for the win. Yeah, no, it was wrong, wasn't it?
It was wrong. It was Piastri got pole.
Yeah. And then Max Verstappen second, no. Oscar Piastri third, no. George Russell fourth. At the moment,
what was the classification? Yeah, it's the classification. Give it. He's got to have that. That's what the record books will show.
Yeah, but it just depends if Leclerc gets a penalty or not, doesn't it? That's the only.
Oh, so should we give it 24 hours to
finalise
these scores?
we won't finalise our results until the next show. But
this is an interim assessment.
Yeah, and he's got Charles Leclerc fifth. Whereas I had Lewis Hamilton for the win. That was my heart talking more than my brain, and unfortunately. And then Lando Norris second. That is correct.
That is correct.
Charles Leclerc third. Also correct.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I've had Oscar and Max. So I've extended my lead, mate.
The safety car does it again, Ferrari. Oh no. What's this Bush League shit?
I had it in my brain that it was going to be Whites' week, actually, and that he was going to get like 4 or 5 points or something, and it was all going to be coming together. I looked at his prediction
and I went, shit, because it looked really, really good. I didn't like, yeah.
And
I'm not such of an arsehole that I will immediately cut and paste and copy his predictions and put it in.
I was seriously considering it.
It looked beautiful, actually, so... he's still a fine F1 mind, the Whites.
He is indeed. He is. Have you got any other kind of highlights from the race, things that stood out to you?
Yeah, I keep saying it. The boy Hadjar, very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, totally.
And he's he's in team competitions, Liam Lawson. He scored 11th, which isn't terrible considering he's sort of on the rebuild.
I enjoyed Lawson today. He was... Putting some
he sent it a few times, didn't
wild overtakes. Yeah, I mean that's a guy who looks like he wants to reassert himself and do something.
And that's good. That's good because I've always had a soft spot for those who've been to Red Bull and been kicked off. I've had it with the previous ones, and it's really sad because it feels like they just don't give you a second to learn. But I suppose they demand results immediately.
It's not got. It hasn't gone well for Tsunoda, has it? So
no, not at all.
That seat is cursed, isn't it?
He's fully cursed, and if he knows that his time's limited on there, and he's just decided to bin as many cars as he can on the way, and just trash as many parts because he's doing an excellent job of just sending a lot of Red Bulls to the tip, which is quite amusing. But a big shout out for Nico Hülkenberg as well.
Yeah, that was going to be mine as well. I thought that was, is it fifth he's got? And we sort of said on the text, I said, who had Hülkenberg in fifth? And then you sort of said, even Hülkenberg didn't have Hülkenberg in fifth.
Yeah, literally not in his wildest dreams was he thinking he was getting any points today, never mind anything else. But I
actually think that, sorry, just to cut in there, but just on Hülkenberg, I think that actually bodes pretty well for next year as well if they're now scoring points like that, because that's going to be Audi next year, isn't it? So,
yeah.
I can't imagine Audi coming into F1 without having a power unit that's going to be pretty special, because they've got nothing else to work on at the moment, have they?
No. That's exciting for them. I mean, Sauber's always been like a mainstay, hasn't it? In one form or another, they've always been there. And fair play to the lad Bortoletto. He's done pretty much nothing until today, but he's got top 12, which is good for him. But there's only one other thing that I want to chat about, and it's annoyed me a little bit, is the Lance Stroll. Did not start, not a DNF, did not start. Not so much that he didn't start, he could be properly hurt, but people would walk over broken glass and coals in their respective careers to get just a chance at driving an F1 car. I can't believe for 1 second Aston Martin don't have a reserve driver.
And are they allowed though? Was it because we'd already do they not have to qualify for the race, and that includes being 20th?
Yeah. But there must be some sort of provision about a start from the pit lane.
Yeah, but
like that.
I was thinking the same thing before. But how can you, if you've not driven for a while, jump into a race in an F1 seat? Is that even something that's possible? I don't know.
Well, something I didn't realise is that Valtteri Bottas is the reserve driver for 3 teams.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, actually, when you think about it. They shouldn't be.
Is Aston Martin one of them?
Yeah, I believe it's... No, well, he's certainly Merc,
but they were talking about Drugovic, weren't they, as being that might jump in the next race if Lance is not back.
Well, if that's the case, that it was not permissible and it was too late because of the quali situation, then fair enough.
Personally, if we never see Lance Stroll in an F1 car again, I won't be sorry about that.
But if he had a bit of a poorly hand, then then you don't give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you see MotoGP riders literally riding with broken limbs and stuff. I was in surgery last night and I'm just riding now. So, I'll never slag him off fully until he gets there. But I'd said to you as well that, who missed him in this race? There was 0 consequences from there. And does he even have fans, or does he look at all of the does he look at all the Aston Martin sweatshirts and stuff out in the stand and secretly know, yeah, each and every one of them is for Fernando, each and every one of them, or it's a middle-aged man who loves an Aston Martin and wants the T-shirt. It's not about me, is it? So yeah, he's an
what do you reckon?
Character.
What do you reckon to the possibility that Lance has somewhat thrown his toys out the pram because he's been told, this is my theory, he's been told that he's not going to be driving that car next year because over the weekend Aston Martin have done some kind of deal with Max Verstappen.
Do you know what?
That's my wild theory.
Good. We've indulged him, or his dad's indulged him for what? The best part of it? Thick end of a decade now, isn't it? He's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Because it was was it the Force India that they took over originally?
It was, yeah.
Good riddance. Yeah, you got the Nepo kid drive. You had a chance. You weren't like bottom of everything. You were never near the top of anything. I won't miss you, lad. Off you go. You're not good enough.
No, that's quite right. I couldn't agree more. Shocking day for Williams as well. It's a shame again.
A real bad luck.
Pace dropped off from them as well. I mean, it's a shame really. I was expecting big things from Williams, Ferrari, and Mercedes today, and none of them have really delivered. I mean, Charles did all right to get third, didn't he? But I think that flattered him a little bit. Or flattered, not him, but he did well, but flattered the Ferrari car, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, and Lewis should be, he had fresh enough boots on in the final stint, and there's no way Hülkenberg should be getting past you, really. Even, you're Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari, and it's Hülkenberg in a Sauber, and there's pretty much parity. I don't know what boots they had on each, and who's newer or not.
I think Hülkenberg did have fresh softs on, didn't he? But yeah, you're right. It's not good.
No,
it's not good. But overall,
enjoyable weekend. More points. The title race is hotting up. Oscar's put a bit of only a little bit. Because what has he got? 10 points now. What now? 13, 14 points on Lando.
I was sad that Lando couldn't challenge more after the safety car. I think we've got to give the last word though to Oscar Piastri for what is essentially another masterful performance. Just all weekend, he's grown into the weekend, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Got the qualifying and then just never looked in doubt through the race. No. Calm as you like. Very
completely
professional.
Unchallenged, completely unchallenged.
Super professional. To me, he's looking more and more like a champion as every race goes by. And even dealing with the disappointment of last week, and he's come back hugely strong. So I think the ball is now in Lando's court to see what he can do. So
no, absolutely. So he's got we have a break of a week, don't we? Although we're looking to see if we can have a little chit chat about something. So we'll try and keep everyone engaged. We'll have obviously no race to highlight or comment on, but we might open the door to some other F1 topics and our extreme wisdom in many areas of F1.
Not just F1, but of life.
Do you think all the team principals hustle around going, have you watched the latest F1, the Zero Credentials F1 podcast? Yeah, man, those lads have really got it fucking switched on, you know.
Yeah, we've got it together.
I keep writing this shit now. Do you know White's has scored no points at all?
Yeah, so why not subscribe and give us a like and leave us a comment, and it's exciting times for us here and exciting times in the F1, I think. So I hope you enjoyed that one, and we'll see you again very, very soon.
See you for Canada. Bye-bye.
Cheers, bye.